destroying families. It's shattering communities all across the country.
President Barack Obama in Charleston talking about the national prescription drug and heroin epidemic, his plan to tackle the problem, and some reaction to the president's address today. Good evening, I'm Rick Lord.
And I'm Kelly Cart. This is Eyewitness News. Tonight at 6, the Commander-in-Chief taking the podium a little before 3 this afternoon on the east end of Charleston.
You know, we need to obviously work with the medical community because they're the front lines on prescribing this stuff, and so there's got to be a sense of responsibility and ownership and accountability there.
The president sharing his plan to combat the drug problem at a national level. He discussed the issue with city and state leaders and healthcare providers and listened to the struggles of recovering addicts and their family members when it comes to their battle, struggle to find treatment and then find jobs. This all taking place right here in the heart of the east end of Charleston at the Roosevelt Neighborhood Center. We have team coverage of the president's trip to the capital city today. Eyewitness News reporter Kenny Bass is inside Roosevelt Neighborhood Center with a breakdown of the president's plan and discussion. Leslie Rubin is outside of that community center with reaction from those who were in listening to the president this afternoon.
Latasha Walker has reaction from crowds that gathered along Greenbrier Street where the president didn't pass, and Bob Aaron covered the opposition and support of the president today at 2 different rallies held in response of today's big event. Let's start with a breakdown of the president's plan with Kenny Bass. Kenny?
The president talking about 2 main thrusts into this battle against prescription drug abuse and heroin use. He says, one, he wants to train medical professionals to be better equipped to prescribe prescription drugs, and he also wants to have more treatment and rehabilitation options for people who are addicted. He says for much too long, treatment has been a second-class citizen to interdiction and arrests. He says we just cannot simply use law enforcement to end this struggle. It's going to take rehabilitation and education. Education coming in the way of millions of dollars of donated ad time by the National Basketball Association, Major League Baseball, several major companies who are going to try to get the word out about the dangers of prescription drug abuse and overuse, and of course the usage of heroin. But it was the most poignant moments here which belong to the parents of drug addicts. They spoke to the president directly. One was actually on the panel and others speaking from the audience about their struggles with their children as they battle addiction. And it took the president to a place in his own life. Of course, he is the father of 2 young daughters. Here's what he had to say.
I told somebody one of my favorite sayings I ever heard about having children is it's like having your heart walking around outside your body. All you care about is making sure they're okay.
The president saying that it cuts across all economic lines, it cuts across party lines. There is no partisanship here. There is no us and them. There is only us in dealing with prescription drug abuse and heroin use. West Virginia, of course, leading the nation. We all know the numbers. They're very grim. The number of deaths in West Virginia, the most in the country, more than twice the national average from heroin overdoses. Hepatitis B, the highest number of new cases in the country. Hepatitis C, the second highest number of new cases in the U.S. So it is a very grim picture, but they're talking about education, rehabilitation, and treatment to help get ahead of this problem while still staying very aggressive on the law enforcement side of it. And the one thing the president said he was very encouraged about and very happy to hear about, and he's taking back to Washington, D.C., is the Charleston Police Department practice of handle with care, where children are involved in situations where either someone in their home is arrested or someone in their home has taken a drug overdose. Law enforcement then contacts that child's school to let them know what's going on, to make sure that that child is handled appropriately. The president was very open to that idea. He said he was going to take it back to D.C. He'd like to see it become a national initiative. And Charleston Police Chief Brent Webster, who was a member of the panel, he told me after the meeting that he'd already been contacted by several states to get more information about how they could incorporate handle with care into what they do in their own jurisdictions. So a positive atmosphere surrounding this meeting this afternoon, but how we go forward and how we deal with the drug addiction problems in West Virginia, that will be telling as to whether this meeting was effective or not. For now, reporting live in Charleston's East End, Kenny Bass, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Kenny. The president's speech there at Roosevelt lasted a little longer than an hour today.
Now, with leaders in the area about this drug problem, Eyewitness News reporter Leslie Rubin live outside the Roosevelt Center now with some reaction from those who were inside. Hey, Leslie.
You know, this was by invitation only, so the only people that were allowed in to hear the president's remarks for themselves were those who were invited. Outside, though, that was a much different story as people lined the streets just hoping to catch a glimpse of the president and that motorcade coming through. Take a look at some of the crowd we saw gathered. They came and stood here for hours just trying to get that, you know, 0.1 second glimpse of the president. Now, there were several hundred people lined along Ruffner Avenue where the presidential motorcade came in, flanked by dozens of law enforcement officers. But for those inside who, like I said, were invited to hear the president's remarks, the overall consensus seemed to be hope. They are hopeful that now, once the president has come and gone, that those initiatives won't leave with him and more focus will be put on treatment, and whoever needs it will be able to get it. Right now, that grim reality is that there are more addicts than there are beds. Now, DHHR Secretary Karen Bowling told me she really felt a connection with that family emphasis that Kenny mentioned just a few seconds ago that was put on in today's discussion.
It's in line with what West Virginia's been doing, and it's the right message. And for him to take the trouble to come here and do this, I'm very hopeful. I'm hopeful some of the focus is on the things he mentioned, like treatment.
We continue to invest in the 3 areas that are most important. That's prevention, that's dealing with children in schools and letting them know this is not good. You know, addiction is a problem, substance abuse is a problem. We stick to how do we get adequate treatment, not just in our state, but across the country, especially medication-assisted treatment, and how do we deal with recovery, and I'm talking about supportive recovery. I think if all of us continue to have those conversations, you know, West Virginia can lead the way.
And that's the goal, to continue that conversation so that everyone can hear it and we can start to make a dent in the problem here in West Virginia and now across the country. We will have more reaction from inside the Roosevelt Center tonight on Eyewitness News at 10 and 11 o'clock. But for now, reporting live on Charleston's East End, Leslie Rubin, Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Leslie. People were lining up all over Charleston this afternoon, hoping to catch a glimpse of the president's motorcade as it drove by, but no one really knew exactly which route he was going to take.
And it ended with a bit of a curveball. The motorcade ended up getting on the interstate and then getting off at the Leon Sullivan exit instead of coming straight down Greenbrier. It then weaved around and came down Washington the other way before turning onto Ruffner. People who were on that side of the East End probably got a good look at the president as he was driving by, and they were certainly excited.
Been sitting here for a couple hours waiting, and the excitement was building and building, and he finally got here and was like, he was looking right out the window and kind of waving at us, and it was exciting.
Oh, I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, it's not like every day you come see the president, you know, coming down on the street. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
The president managed to dodge hundreds of spectators today, though, who were waiting there for a long time on Greenbrier Street.
And on Washington between Greenbrier and Ruffner, but of course that didn't happen. The president kind of went the other way. Eyewitness News reporter Taisha Walker now live along Greenbrier with reaction from people that thought it was a bit of a downer the way they got thrown a curveball there. Taisha.
Greenbrier Street back to normal. As you can see and hear, traffic back to the way it was before the president arrived here on the east end of Charleston. There are no state police troopers blocking off traffic, no crowds, large crowds lining up to see the motorcade, which didn't happen, as you said, because the president actually got on the interstate that way and went around the other way to get to that community center. A lot of disappointed people. I can tell you, some people have been out here since 9 a.m. decked out in their Obama gear, if you can say that, trying to get a glimpse of that motorcade, to take pictures, to show him the signs, to sort of give him a warm welcome. And of course, there were some anti-Obama groups who were stationed out here as well. But one woman told me while she was sad that she did not get to see the president, she was happy that he was here in the Mountain State to address the drug epidemic.
I was really disappointed. There were lots of us standing here wanting to welcome him, give him a real sincere West Virginia welcome, and we were really disappointed. But we hope that he enjoys his stay while he's here, and really hope that he understands that we need his support.
Greenbrier Greenbrier Street opened up about 4:30 once that motorcade made its way down the other end toward the airport direction. So traffic is back to normal. And I'll tell you a little bit later why one woman was so excited to see the president. Obviously, she didn't, but I'll explain her story a little later tonight on Eyewitness News. For now, reporting live in Charleston, I'm Taisha Walker for Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Taisha. The president did find both support and opposition on the streets of Charleston when he came to the capital city.
Eyewitness News reporter Bob Aaron is live now on Washington Street with more on that. Bob?
Pollsters in the ballot box indicate that the president's performance is not terribly well thought of in the southern West Virginia coalfields, but he certainly has his supporters here. And let's take a look at how opinion was voiced on the streets of Charleston this day. The president's environmental policies and their impact on coal mean a lot of West Virginians are angry with him. Some took to the streets, but most voiced opinions at a more respectful rally full of disrespectful signs before his arrival. It blamed some drug problems on high unemployment, the highest in the nation, brought on by coalfield layoffs. But Democrats also turned out to welcome the president, while gun rights advocates sneered at him.
Oh, we have a fabulous president. I'm so happy that he's coming to the state of West Virginia to talk about a devastating problem.
Obama being garbage, being junk, coming out here for the wrong reasons. Most of what's going on right now, he caused.
A wide variety of opinions taken to the streets here in Charleston. Gun rights advocates, staunch Democrats, and even people advocating the legalization of marijuana. At the earlier coal rally, the West Virginia Attorney General blamed the Obama administration for closed coal mines and countless job losses and their role in the state's drug problem.
In West Virginia, in recent years, you've seen an increase in poverty. You've seen an increase of hopelessness, and a lot of that gets tied to the job loss. And one of the many reasons, there are a lot of reasons why we've lost jobs in the state, but one of the reasons has to do with these coal regulations coming out of Washington, and for that, the president is responsible.
The president missed most of the signs, including those urging marijuana legalization, when the Secret Service choice of routes left their message up in smoke. Now, within the last hour, the remnants of what changed Ruffner Avenue here have disappeared, and it's gotten back to normal, and so have the other streets in Charleston with the president's departure. Reporting live in Charleston's East End, I'm Bob Aaron for Eyewitness News.
All right, Bob, and now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on what the president spoke about today? The discussion about the drug epidemic continues through our social media pages. Do you think his plans or his administration's plans will work? We're going to check out some of your responses, hopefully coming up a little later here at 6.
And still to come, a woman shares her battle with drug addiction and her efforts now to help others. You're watching Eyewitness News, West Virginia's source for news.
And another beautiful sunny day across the region. How long can this mild weather last? Are we talking about some rain on the way? I'll let you know. It's in my forecast, and it's coming up next. Great day for the president to visit the state. He commented about how beautiful this part of the country is, and doesn't get much better on a day when you have blue skies and some very mild temperatures. Live Doppler radar showing nothing going on. Once again, hardly a cloud in the sky, no precipitation. Mild temperatures, Charleston 72, Huntington 70, Athens 71, Lewisburg 69, Beckley 68, Ashland, you're at 73. Dew point's coming up a little bit, so we'll add a little humidity to the mix. Not much, though. Dew point's still very low in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, but these will be coming up and could lead to helping us out getting some rain in here as we head into and through the weekend. Our satellite radar view shows a couple of high clouds up to the north, and that's about all that's going on other than that clear skies. High pressure moving out. Here comes a cold front making its way on into the region, so we'll see some clouds tomorrow. We could even see a couple of isolated showers up to the north as we make our way into the evening hours on Thursday. But other than that, it's going to stay dry. This front will drop through on Friday, cool us down just a notch, and then start lifting back up as a warm front. And then as that happens, we'll start to warm up a bit on Saturday, and that could lead to some rain showers on Sunday. Let's put our rainfall forecast into motion, and as we go into Sunday morning, we'll have about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch for most areas. By the time we get to the afternoon, some areas could have 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. So not a lot out of this rain. We'll have rain also on Monday and Tuesday, but it's not going to be a washout. We'll just have some scattered showers at times. The temperature in Charleston today, boy, when you get a situation like this, very cool mornings and pleasant afternoons, that cool air right at the ground level heats up very quickly with the sun coming up. At 8 o'clock, we were at 36 in Charleston. By noontime, 65, 29-degree warm-up in just 4 hours. Tonight, 44. That's very seasonable, mostly clear. Tomorrow, above normal high is 75. Beautiful day, partly cloudy and mild. After our 75, drop to 70 on Friday. 76 with rain coming in late Saturday. A few showers on Sunday and 68. Mostly cloudy Monday and then rain on Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs in the 60s to around 70. I'll see you with one final look at the forecast coming up in just a bit.
Heroin in Huntington, how churches in Cabell County are trying to come together to help addicts. That's next. This is Eyewitness News. Welcome back to Eyewitness News. We have mentioned the numbers. They are startling. You've heard that 34 out of every 100,000 people die from a drug overdose in the state. That's the highest rate in the nation here in West Virginia, double the national average. And also, to put that in real numbers, according to the State Health Statistics Center, about 2,900 West Virginians have OD'd on prescription painkillers or heroin over just the past 5 years.
Statistics also showing the state is on pace right now for a record year in drug overdoses. Here in Kanawha County, we're on track for a record number of heroin overdose deaths in a single year. To date, 62 reported overdose deaths in Kanawha County this year. 22 involved heroin.
And back in April, Cabell County was on track to have 6 times the national average of overdose deaths by year's end. There have been about 600 reported overdoses to date this year in Cabell County. 52 of those have been fatal. It is certainly scary to hear all those numbers, and we see those stats, but it's the painful personal stories of addiction that really have taken a toll on thousands of families across our area, and those are stories that often aren't told.
Tonight, though, we hear from a former addict who watched as dozens of her friends lost their battles with heroin. Eyewitness News reporter Leslie Rubin has her story of perseverance and her new mission to help others get where she is now.
My kid has cried for me, and I've walked away. Like moms walk away from their children. It is that powerful. It is that serious.
In the 2 years and 8 months that Jamie Moffitt has been free from heroin, she still struggles thinking about how her life wasn't the only one ripped apart by her addiction.
I mean, the drug just holds on to you so tightly.
Moffitt has come a long way since the nights in jail, the failed attempts at rehab, and the feeling of hopelessness she knows all too many are facing.
It's like you're a shell of a person. You don't have control over your actions. You don't have control over who you hurt. You don't intend to hurt these people.
Recently, Moffitt started working as a counselor at 844-HELP-4WV, the state's first statewide 24-hour substance abuse and mental health call line. She knows all too well the struggles being faced on the other end of the line, and the reality is harsh. There are more addicts in need of help than there are beds.
You got to tell these people that are so desperate, that are on their deathbed, I'm sorry, but you have to wait.
And she knows what waiting often leads to.
In 6 weeks, from March and April, I went to a funeral week for 6 weeks.
Had any of them tried to get help and try to save them?
All of them.
So as President Obama comes and leaves the Mountain State, she wants him to know they have been fighting, but they can't do it alone.
We've been on the firing line. We've been staying up till 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning on the phone to make sure somebody didn't die. We've been to the treatment facilities. We've given our time. We've had the sponsees. We've went to the funerals. We've saw the families and the moms and the brothers and sisters crushed because their family member's dead. We've been out here fighting this thing. So now it's just to the point of getting everybody to realize that we're fighting this thing.
In Charleston, Leslie Rubin, Eyewitness News.
Powerful stuff there. Thank you, Leslie. Moffitt hopes to one day open a center for addicts after treatment that would focus on preparing them to re-enter society sober.
Last May, Huntington pastors met during the Mayor's Clergy Drug Summit about this issue. They and Mayor Steve Williams trying to do their part, joining hands to show their support in the fight against the heroin epidemic. Addicts and those touched by the issue sit in church pews every Sunday, and oftentimes church can create change in communities. Reverend Tim Dixon was the organizer of that summit. He says 5 months following the event, churches are still trying to get involved to battle this problem and doing things like starting recovery groups, counseling groups, and therapy support groups for families who have lost loved ones to a drug overdose.
You can say all day long, let's pray about that, but at some point you're going to have to put your arms around somebody and say, let me help you carry this burden. Let me walk this journey with you. After all, that is a part of our Christian faith.
Certainly a big problem in Cabell County. Earlier this year, they were on pace for more than 100 heroin overdose deaths this year. That number has leveled off somewhat, and hopefully they can keep this kind of momentum going. Social media lighting up over the president. Take a look at what you think next, right here on Eyewitness News. In this day and age, every story just goes across all kinds of barriers. Over to social media, those pages, Facebook, Twitter, lighting up today in response to the president's visit to Charleston and his plans to fight not only the state's drug epidemic, but hopefully the nation's drug epidemic. We always love to hear from you.
Eyewitness News anchor Whitney Wetzel has been keeping an eye on your comments. She joins us now live in the studio with a look.
Hey guys, well of course the president's visit has certainly been the talk of the town today, so no surprise to see a lot of both positive and negative reactions to Obama's visit. In response to one of our Facebook posts with a link to Obama's plan to fight the drug epidemic in West Virginia, Deborah James says, quote, the document contains over 9 pages describing efforts to educate on the dangers of drug use and appropriate prescribing practices, less than 2 pages on treatment of addiction and elimination of illegal drug trafficking, and 0 pages on fixing our economy so people don't turn to drugs. Sheila Butchie Burns replies and says, I respect him and am very glad he is coming to listen to some facts and ideas on how to deal with this, our worst problem. Our country is ravaged by drug addiction. Now you can always join in on the conversation by commenting on our Facebook page and also tweeting using the hashtag ObamaNWV. And we'll be sharing some more of your thoughts later tonight on Eyewitness News at 10 and 11. We'll see you then, and we'll be right back.
And we're looking for clear skies tonight. Another mild day on the way for tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Jim. That's going to do it for us at 6. Eyewitness News continues at 10 o'clock on Fox 11. We're back here at 11.
Take care.